Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined alongside my two rather disgruntled co-hosts. To my right, it is the one and only Uncle Sam.
I think we should discuss the CBA.
Okay. And behind the board, making us sound mediocre at best, absolutely pounding his own weasel, it is Bruce, the tugboat Venditti.
What's going on?
It is championship weekend. Officially, we have two matchups this weekend that will decide who is going to the Super Bowl. NFC Championship, San Francisco versus Philadelphia. AFC Championship, Cincinnati versus Kansas City. And we will get into those matchups, and we will break them down in depth. But first, we have some news to address. First and foremost, and I'm sure Uncle Sam is just going to be elated to hear this news, the USFL is back for another season. Don't know how, but they are.
It's awesome.
And the Michigan Panthers will be calling Ford Field their home. And they will have home games at Ford Field this year.
If the price is right, I'm all in.
Season ticket package is starting at $200.
Shit, that's what it costs to go to a Lions game.
You get to go to
ticket.
God knows how many. Exactly.
I can buy
I'm surprised they're not giving
passes
away
for
for free.
everybody. Listen, once again, Jeff Fisher has a second chance to turn it around.
I thought he got fired.
Did he get fired? He should have been fired.
Did,
but
yeah.
You're supposed to be following him, aren't you?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You're supposed to be our official USFL.
I
analyst.
like the USFL. You know that.
In actual news that matters, Frank Reich has been hired by the Carolina Panthers after he threw the franchise's first touchdown pass. He is now their head coach.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Interesting in how these guys get recycled. Just interesting to me.
Yeah,
He turned the Colts into a fucking shit bag, and this guy gets a job again.
Well, I don't know if he turned the Colts into a shit bag.
Well, it's a combination of him and 110 proof Jim Irsay.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think the Colts have been so mismanaged.
That's true.
As of late, I mean, first of all, we could go through all the off-season episodes that we did, and I sit here and talk about how nobody in the Colts organization could make up their. I mean, you bring in Phillip Rivers for 1 year, you bring in Carson Wentz for 1 year.
Right.
If you cannot figure out who your starting quarterback is going to be from year to year and develop that rapport with them and get them to, actually play with the guys they're playing with, and be coached by the guys they're being coached with.
I think
you're
it's tough. I think it's tough on a quarterback if he's only coming in for 1 year to try to transition. I think it's very hard. Very hard.
Too.
Unless your team is an elite team, it's hard to do.
Agreed. Speaking of elite teams, the New England Patriots have hired Bill O'Brien as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach,
I love that move.
ushering Matt Patricia into the sunset.
Ushering Matt Patricia into the concession stand selling fucking hot dogs. That's what he should be doing.
I don't think they'll put him in charge of the hot
That's
dogs.
what he should be doing.
If they
He'll
put
be
him in
eating
charge-
all the
if they
fucking
put him
hot
in charge
dogs,
of any
fat
food item,
bastard.
the numbers will be off. The Broncos' former head coach Nathaniel Hackett is taking his talents to New York to be the Jets' offensive coordinator. Previously, he had called plays in Buffalo and Jacksonville, where he had previously worked with Robert Saleh.
Okay.
Damn.
And he was also the offensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers.
Sorry to interrupt, but these Michigan Panthers replica jerseys are $80, and they're out of your size. I was gonna get you one, but
They don't have any. They don't have
double
any free
XL.
X's.
They don't have
Oh.
3 or X double.
But so obviously, this Nathaniel Hackett hire for the Jets is very interesting because, as we saw this year as a head coach, Nathaniel Hackett was absolutely putrid. But as we've seen,
He's not a head coach.
He's not a head coach. He's an offensive
Some guys are good coordinators, but they're garbage head coach. Jim Schwartz.
great defensive coordinator, awful head coach.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not awful.
I wouldn't say he was
not
an
awful.
awful
I've
head
seen
coach.
worse than him. The best defensive line coach
Nathaniel
probably in the last 30 years in football was a god awful head coach. Rod Marinelli.
Josh McDaniels.
Rod Marinelli.
He
went 0 and fucking 16.
He was an overly aggressive head coach. He was in the ref's face like every other play.
Marinelli.
No, Marinelli had
Jim Schwartz.
zero talent on the team.
True.
That was the difference. Marinelli is an excellent defensive line coach. He was the fucking most putrid head coach I've ever seen. We'll have to check the tape. That's all he would say. We'll have to check the tape.
Okay.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
But the interesting part of this Nathaniel Hackett
Matt Patricia.
hire for the Jets is that he pretty
All
much
the rumors
came out and
circulating?
said he pretty much came out and said the move was an attempt to lure Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, and everybody who knows anything in the NFL right now is speculating. That's all we have at this point is speculation, but is speculating that Aaron Rodgers they're working on a trade to send him from the Packers to the Jets.
Well, they already said they're not trading him in division,
In conference.
in conference.
So,
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah, because they don't want to play him.
the Jets thing kind of makes a little bit of sense.
I actually, you know what? It does.
I mean, we
The
broke it,
receiving core is 100 times better than
we
the
broke it
receiving core
down
there.
before the show. The Jets have a better head coach, in my opinion, a
Yeah.
better receiving core, a better defense, a better running back room. Personally, if you ask me, I think it makes a lot of sense. So that's something that we're gonna monitor.
I would love to see him and Braxton Berrios work together.
Oh wow, yeah. That's
What?
sexy, isn't it?
Hey, you think I'm kidding you?
He's gonna
Braxton
be-
Berrios
you think-
is a monster.
Will Braxton Berrios be the new Jordy Nelson?
No, but he'll be the new ghost of Randall Cobb.
Oh my God!
Because
I was gonna
how
say,
Randall
I was
Cobb
Rand-
used
the
to
new
always come up
Randall
with that
Cobb.
big catch to keep the drive going.
Yeah.
That'll be Braxton Berrios.
No, you watch. Randall Cobb will be a Jet. Yeah,
That's
in 1
interesting.
year, right?
But I would love to see him work with Garrett Wilson.
So
I think if those two could build a rapport, he could be the next Devontae
Devontae
Adams.
Adams very quick.
Yes, very
Um,
fast.
So,
And you got Corey Davis too. Don't forget.
we also that one almost flew right over my head.
I was waiting for you to get it.
They have come out with
That flew over Bruce's head because he doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I'm looking at the Michigan Panther website.
anyways.
God damn it, dude.
The strength of schedule rankings for the 23-24 season next
Okay.
season have come out because everybody knows who their opponents are now for next year. But the strength of schedule came out. Do you know who has the hardest schedule next year?
No, I do not.
They had one of the third easiest schedules this year.
Okay.
Philadelphia
New England
Eagles.
Patriots?
Philadelphia Eagles have the hardest schedule.
Oh,
Some other notable ones: the Dolphins are at 2, the Giants are at 3, Patriots are at 4, Cowboys are at 5, so they'll have a 9-win year.
Okay.
Um,
well, you know what? It's hard to say this because these teams that were good fucking this year could turn around and shit to bed next year.
well, I think some of them, yeah. Like,
Yes.
honest to God, I'm at a point right now where I don't know what Buffalo is going to be next year. Like, I think the Eagles.
I think I'm going to be honest with you, dude. They're in a crossroads right now.
Well, but for example, I don't see Philadelphia regressing all that much next year. I mean, do I think they're going to
But
go?
I see teams in that division getting a lot better.
Yeah, I could see the.
Washington,
Luckily for
Dallas.
for Philadelphia, as far as strength of schedule goes, yes, they have the hardest, but the Giants are 3rd, Dallas is 5th, and Washington is 8th. So they're all going to go through.
well, I seen Dallas. They fired a bunch of their coordinators too.
Yeah, they're firing everybody. I think Jerry Jones.
The guy they should fire is still there.
Due time.
In case
Um,
people wanted to know,
some-
there's 227 days until regular season football.
Some other notable ones. The Raiders are at 10th. I figured that's interesting. The Lions are 20th.
Strength of schedule.
Yep. Followed by the Ravens and Buccaneers at 22.
Okay.
Green Bay's at 24. And then the easiest schedules are the Texans, the Saints, and the Falcons.
Okay.
One that really interested me is the Pittsburgh Steelers at 25th. That one,
Yeah, but their in division games are fucking harder than
Absolutely.
any schedule.
Wow.
any schedule you could throw at them.
Atlanta,
Listen, anybody who plays in
Carolina, Denver,
the NFC East,
Kansas City,
the
Tampa Bay.
AFC North or whatever you want to call it.
Correct.
Those are fucking juggernaut divisions.
Absolutely.
You know, the AFC West.
So
Strength of schedules.
yeah, I don't want to look forward to next year too much, but honest to God, there's a lot of teams down there at the bottom of that strength of schedule
I think they're going to be better.
that could surprise a lot of people. I mean, obviously we know the Lions have become quickly, I think, one of the most loved teams in the NFL. And you know, if they could pull off a 10-win season next year,
they need to upgrade defensively immensely to even think about doing what they did this year again. I'm not trying to be same old Lions guy, but that defense that started out the beginning of this year and what finished up at the end of this year, they've got gaping holes that they need to fucking fill.
big gaping holes.
And huge gaping holes that they're going to have to fist fill because if you don't,
way better, to be honest.
if you don't, they won't win 9 games next year.
I agree with that. They definitely do.
Yeah. They got to win division. They were 5-1 in the division last year. They got to keep that up. If they can't do that, they're not going anywhere.
True kings. Of the
So after this week, we have a big Pro Bowl games weekend coming up, in which a flag football game between two teams, one coached by Peyton, one coached by Eli.
I think that could be entertaining.
I think
I really do. I like the Eli bro. I like them, the Manning brothers.
Yeah, they're
I
cute.
really like them. I think they're funny.
They're cute.
I think Peyton Manning's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
He's fucking
I never
stupid.
watched like they do the ESPN. They watch the game.
I've watched a couple of
I've
them.
watched
I
some
watched
of
it the last. I think it was the last game. It was
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Yeah.
But I can remember Peyton Manning doing Saturday Night Live. He was fucking
was a
hilarious,
Saturday game.
firing balls at little kids. I liked it.
Another thing that I wanted to do was the NFL honors finalists are in.
Okay.
And obviously they'll be announced on February 9th, but I just wanted to run through them real quick. So MVP finalists are, and I think we can eliminate some right off the bat. Right, Josh Allen. I think we can
Goodbye.
write something through him. Actually,
Goodbye.
I saw an interesting stat yesterday,
Yeah.
and I wanted to bring this up right when
Sure, Josh Allen wasn't on it.
No, it was
about him?
actually a Josh Allen stat.
Okay. About how horrible he is when he's pressured.
So I want you to guess which quarterback I'm talking about here.
I saw this.
Passing yards, 4,438. Touchdowns, 29. Interceptions, 7. Pass completion percentage, 65.1. Passer rating, 99.3.
I have no idea.
That's Jared Goff.
Okay. Those are good numbers.
Josh
Interception.
Allen's numbers, 4,283, which is almost 200 less than Jared Goff.
Okay.
He did have 35 touchdowns.
Okay.
Goff's 29.
Yeah.
He also doubled Goff's interception total at 14.
Yeah.
Completion percentage, he was just under 2% less at 63.3 compared to Goff's 65.
Well, that's him. He's not real accurate.
And overall passer rating, 96.6, just under 3 points less than Goff.
That's the thing, though. I think if you gave Josh Allen the offense in Detroit, his numbers.
You could suck a cock with that. He has Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis going into this
He
year.
has
was
no
supposed to
run
be-
getting, and he doesn't have as good as an offensive line.
Well, hopefully the draft.
Well, I would say Devin Singletary is actually better than fucking DeAndre Swift
I
because
didn't
at least he's on the
running
field.
back. I said running
Yeah.
game. That means a good offensive line.
Well,
to be
he's
able
the
to
running
run
game.
the ball.
That's how they predicate their offense.
So for me,
He's the running game.
I'm gonna put a little arrow. I'm gonna put a little cross through Josh Allen. Joe Burrow, who I think has.
He should.
They haven't lost a
I'm
game
going to be
since
honest
Halloween.
with you. Joe Burrow
I'd put him up there.
is the best quarterback in the league.
Right now,
In my opinion, he's the best quarterback in the league.
I agree. Next is Jalen Hurts, who would be my pick
He's
personally.
my
right
pick
now.
for
above
MVP.
Joe for me.
Justin Jefferson, who I don't think has a place here. I would put.
You know what? You know what? He's had a really fucking good season.
Yes, but
He's had a really good
Guess
season.
what?
And the guy is dynamic.
Guess what?
There's no denying
I get it.
that if he played on a fucking different team,
That's bullshit.
and I'm not going to talk about Kirk Cousins being a bad quarterback, but if Justin Jefferson was playing in fucking Cincinnati,
Well, we saw
He'd be
that
an
last
absolute
year. with
monster.
If
Jamar
that's the
Chase.
case,
He would
then
be-
Devontae Adams should have had MVP that
Correct.
one year, and Aaron Rodgers shouldn't.
I mean, here this is the
I
long and
don't
short of it.
think the MVP should go to a quarterback every year.
Tyreek Hill was on pace to bust Justin Jefferson out until Tua got hurt.
Do you know a defensive player hasn't been nominated since J.J. Watt?
I remember that.
And that was how many years ago?
Shit.
7 years ago?
Probably. And then obviously ultra cute Pat Mahomes is last on the finalist list. So for
Better
me,
watch out because that fucker could steal this award.
yeah, I think he could
because
steal
that's
it.
everybody thinks he's cute.
Yeah.
And they'll give him it. They'll give it to him.
For me, the way I would do it would be Hurts, Burrow, Mahomes, and
Well, honestly, with what was it, Juju that came out and said that you could
Yeah.
put anybody in this offense. After that, he might not win.
they showed it this weekend with Joey Harrington
Yeah.
as their quarterback in the playoff game. Who
Yeah.
played quarterback for the Chiefs this weekend?
That might have just ruined his
Who
chance.
was it? Joey Harrington.
No, it was,
He led him on a touchdown scoring
no,
drive.
it wasn't Joey Harrington. It was fucking Tom Brady. He played with Brady.
Who?
fuck is his
Keenum? Who the fuck
No.
was it? I don't even know who it was.
The guy who played fucking with Cincinnati or with the Chiefs. Elvis Gerback. Who was it? It's a Michigan quarterback.
What the fuck is Elvis?
Rick Leach. Was it Rick
What is
Leach?
Elvis
Didn't he play-
Gerback?
Didn't he play
Jesus
baseball?
Christ, Chad Henne.
Chad Henne. There you go.
Chad fucking Henne.
Anybody could plug into
Andy Reid's off.
Andy Reid's offense and do well.
I agree.
Anybody could.
I agree.
And I actually don't think you can plug another guy into Cincinnati and do with Joe Burrow.
Or Philadelphia.
No, because they've
saw
we've tried that.
Yeah.
The two season games that Hurts missed, they lost. They lost both the games.
Defensive Player of the Year. They have 3 finalists. 49ers Nick Bosa.
Okay. I actually thought what's his name had better numbers than him. Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons is also on the list.
Okay.
And the third one is Chris Jones, defensive tackle for the Chiefs.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm gonna say no.
I would say the most valuable player out of them three,
Is Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
I agree.
Chris Jones is an absolute
His last game, he
monster.
had 1 tackle.
The guy is unfucking blockable.
He is
The guy is
Right.
unfucking blockable.
but
And he's the reason why the Chiefs are where they're at right now. Because without him on that defense, they're mediocre at best.
I will say I was surprised. I was reading
Don't agree with that, but
I was reading through some defensive
what?
stats.
Say that
He's
again?
talking. Go ahead.
No, say what you
I
just
said I don't agree with what you just said, but go ahead.
Okay. I was reading through some defensive stats earlier. I was surprised. If you look statistically, the year that Trey Hendrickson had, even with his injury, I mean, Nick Bosa's on this list. He missed how many games? 3 or 4 games due to injury.
Okay.
Trey Hendrickson missed a similar amount with very similar numbers.
Okay.
And realistically, he had a higher percentage of getting to the quarterback than Nick Bosa did, and a quicker time off the line of scrimmage. That one kind of surprised me. I think overall, this Defensive Player of the Year thing, this to me seems like it's a popularity contest outside of Chris Jones. I mean,
No,
everybody,
because nobody even knows who fucking Chris Jones is.
correct.
Unless you're a football guy, you don't know who Chris Jones
Right. But everybody in the world knows who Micah Parsons and Nick Bosa is. And
Of course, because they're the defensive end getting all the glory.
correct.
They're not the guy on the inside. They're not the guy on the inside causing havoc.
Correct.
Who gets double teamed every play.
So this next one's very interesting to me, and this is where I think your philosophy on the MVP comes in. Offensive Player of the Year. And obviously they don't give Offensive Player of the Year and MVP to the same guy. So
Okay.
if I believe Jalen Hurts should win MVP, I'm going to take him out of the running. He is in the finalists for Offensive Player of the Year. But the other 3 are Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, and Patrick Mahomes. Now,
That's just
for me personally, all right,
so many other guys.
obviously,
Fucking live.
I think this award goes to whichever one between Hurts and Mahomes doesn't win MVP. But this one for me, I would give to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill at a point this year was on pace to shatter. If he would have stayed on pace when Tua was actually
Correct.
coherent, he would have had 2,300 receiving yards this year. He would have shattered.
Wow.
He would have shattered every record. He would have
Shattered Calvin Johnson.
by almost 500
Did
yards.
what's his name break Calvin Johnson's last year? Cooper Kupp?
No, he was like,
He was like 3 shy or
Yeah.
something
Oh,
stupid
that
like
sucks.
that. But he was on pace to absolutely shatter that. Justin Jefferson came on late, but I'll tell you what. For me personally, if you have your starting quarterback all
Tyreek
year,
Hill's dynamic, dude.
Tyreek Hill
Anytime
is
the guy gets the
so-
ball in his hands, he can score.
Tyreek Hill is so offensively dynamic. The team was plagued with injuries all year. The team really shit the bed at the end of it. And at the end of the day, Justin Jefferson had way more off games with his starting quarterback and the cavalry all there than Tyreek Hill did with Skylar Thompson.
There was only 3 games on the year that I seen Justin Jefferson not have a great game. One was against Philadelphia.
Dallas,
One was against Dallas.
Detroit.
And one was against Detroit.
in the game they lost.
Correct.
The game they won, he had 100.
The game they won,
some fucking.
he had a shit ton of them. The game the Lions won.
Right.
But in the game that the Vikings won, he had like 40 yards receiving. It was fucking pathetic.
The Tracy Walker was on him. Wasn't Tracy Walker playing?
No, they were rolling coverage toward him. Walker's the safety.
You're gonna love
Oh,
this
that's
one.
right. Okay, yeah. You're right.
Offensive rookie of the year.
Okay.
Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
This one's tough for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker. Or 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy.
Walker.
Okay, I'll say this right now. I'm taking Purdy off that list for one reason, and one reason only. He played 6 fucking regular season games. So he's off the list.
I agree.
He's off the list.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead and try
Between
and pick
Garrett
between the
Wilson
other two.
and
I'll take Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker, who put their team on their back and fucking got them into the fucking playoffs. That's all I'm going to say.
So you're gonna take Walker.
Absolutely.
Um,
Oh, Garrett Wilson had a fucking great year. You know what was having a better year than Garrett Wilson till he got fucking banged up was Chris Olave.
yeah.
Nobody talked about him.
For me personally,
And nobody talked about who I thought, Christian Watson. If he hadn't have dropped them, if he hadn't have done shit the first 6 games,
Yeah,
of the
he
year,
didn't do anything.
He would have
the
won
first 6
MVP.
games. Me personally, I think I'd give Garrett Wilson this award, just strictly for the fact that the Jets had so much quarterback turmoil. You didn't know who the fuck was going to be it was nothing but a shit
No,
show.
I agree with that. I
And
mean,
he
Mike
won
White
them
come in,
so
he
many
played
games.
with Joe Flacco the first, 3 or 4 games of the year? 4
Yeah.
games?
I mean,
He was outstanding.
right. And then
And then as soon as
Zach
Zach Wilson came in,
the rapport. I don't know if the rapport wasn't
Yeah.
there, or he just wasn't looking his way or what, but Garrett Wilson for
We
me
also-
won them more games than Kenneth Walker did for the Seahawks, just because Geno Smith actually played well. DK Metcalf actually played well. You know, as soon as Breece Hall went down, it was easier to write off this Jets team, and you couldn't, in my opinion, because of Garrett Wilson. So for me,
well, look at it this way, though. If you would took Kenneth Walker out of that position, where would the Seahawks have been?
I don't know.
That's what I was.
See, that's the big thing, because he carried them at least through 6 games this year.
That's true.
He carried them to wins
think-
that they should have lost.
You could flip a coin between those two.
Yeah, I do too. I personally think it was Walker because I think he was more consistent.
True.
And played well every game he was in.
True.
You know,
Defensive Rookie of the Year. Cornerback from the Seahawks, Tariq Woolen.
he had a fucking good year.
He did.
He quietly had a great year.
Lions.
Which, you know what? Everybody was high on him.
Mhm.
He's a 6'4" corner, dude. You don't see that shit. The guy's a freak. Huh?
Not anymore, no. Lions defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson.
Okay.
I don't know what it is with people like him and Christopher. They just fucking hate him. So
It's you know what? I don't hate the guy. I like him, but the problem is this: if you put some of his stats aren't. I don't know how you could say this. Okay, he got lucky against Rodgers and picked one in the end zone because Rodgers, I don't know what the fuck Maybe he was having some psychedelic moments. Okay. And then a couple of that he dropped into coverage and it was thrown right to him because he jumped a route. I get that. He had 3 interceptions. I get that. That's great. He had what? How many sacks did he have? 10?
I want to say
9?
7.5, 8.5.
No, he had like 9. He had 2 in the last game versus, I think he had 9. He's either got 9 or 9.5. He had 2 against
9.5.
that rookie tackle that was playing for Green Bay.
9.5.
That they
He had
pulled.
better stats
After they
than
pulled that
Aaron
rookie
Donald.
tackle that gave up the 2 sacks to him, after they pulled him, you didn't hear from him for the rest of the game.
Aiden
But
Hutchinson.
that's all I'm going to say. Who I think should win this
Okay,
award.
can I finish the nominees?
Go ahead.
And the third one is Jets cornerback Sauce Gardner.
Sauce is the stuff.
Hutch beat Sauce out.
I
Hate to
you know
break it
what?
to you.
I don't think
Sauce Gardner went up against every tough fucking receiver in this
every
league.
single one, and he came out
And
on
his numbers were outstanding
Yep.
against all of them.
top. For me, this is a no-brainer. This is the easiest one on the list.
Yeah.
Personally.
Okay.
I mean, okay, this is the thing. And if we go back to the draft talk in April of almost a year ago, we talked about this with Hutchinson, right?
Yeah.
And my prediction on Hutchinson was that he would be extremely consistent
Yes.
and he would get you between 8 and 10 sacks a year.
Which I thought that's Kyle Vanderbosch.
He wasn't going to blow up and get you the 16 sack season like one of the Boses or like one of the Watts are going to do. He is not that kind of a guy, and he will be consistently that. He will be an anchor on your defensive line, and that's what he will be.
If I'm not mistaken, he had better rookie numbers than it was either Aaron Donald or one of the Boses.
Well, as a rookie, that's
As sacks.
that's great.
Not too many. And I will say this. Aaron Donald plays a completely different position than him. But Aaron Donald,
Right.
his production is fucking ridiculous.
You know, and I mean, we saw it this year. We saw a little bit of what we talked about. There were games this year where Aiden Hutchinson was a non-factor. When you
like the first 6.
when you are one of the great defensive players in the league, a la the Boses, a la Aaron Donald, if you are healthy and breathing and you are on the field, you make an impact every single drive. So that's my only knock on Hutchinson. I agree with him. Sauce Gardner played up against. He locked down. If you go back and look at the stats from the Jets-Dolphins games, what happened to Jalen Waddle? He had a total of 70 receiving yards against them in 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, Sauce Gardner to me is an easy pick for that one. Next up, comeback player of the year. For me, this one's also easy. Giants running back Saquon Barkley, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey, Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith. This one, without question for me, goes to the Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith. Without question. Without question.
Fuck your life, Christian McCaffrey.
Why? Because he took half a year off last year? That's not a comeback player. Everybody knew McCaffrey would come back.
Listen,
No,
I truly believe Geno Smith did something I don't think anybody
ever could have
expected him to do.
Saquon wasn't supposed to even be out there the entire season.
Who?
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's great.
But
he was.
Listen, Geno Smith.
He made it
Wait,
in the
wait. Geno Smith.
postseason.
Phoenix from the ashes.
Listen to me. Geno Smith at one point was Zach Wilson.
He was worse than Zach Wilson. That's
No, he
saying
was-
a lot. No, he
Yeah,
was
I
worse
guess
than
you're
Zach
right. He
Wilson.
was worse than Zach
Yeah,
Wilson.
he was a third stringer.
And for him to get resurrected like this, it was pretty fucking amazing. I don't know what the scumbag out there in fucking Seattle did to
Fed
him.
him.
Maybe he fucking jerked him. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he milked him. I don't know. But he did a fucking great job with
Yep.
him.
He earned himself. He went from
Yeah.
not
He
playing
went
in
from
an
being
NFL
in
game.
total obscurity.
Correct.
He didn't play for 5 years.
He had not
dude.
started a game in
5
7
years.
He,
5.
He hadn't played in 5. Started
Correct.
a game in 7.
Yes.
And came out here
came
and
out
led this
and-
team within a
Yeah.
Lions loss
Let
of
me
the
ask you
playoffs.
this: do you think they do what they did this year next year?
I actually think they're going to be better next
I
year.
think they could be better
Really?
next year too.
Yes, just because they got that, they have 2 offensive tackles that are fucking rookies
Yep. They're just
who played very well. People undermine
Well, yeah,
how
that's
good
part of the
they
reason
play.
why Kenneth Walker had the
Yes.
year he had. It's because they do
And
have a good offense.
They have 2 corners that are fucking rookies.
Who are
2
off the chain.
corners that are rookie, true fucking rookies
They have 2.
that played outstanding. One is up for defensive player of the year or defensive back of the year. I mean, come on, man.
They have 2 perennial receivers. They have a good supporting cast behind him and guys like Goodwin. They got one of the best young running backs in the league. Personally, I think the Seahawks will be.
If Geno Smith can keep his head and not lose his composure, like he
they'll
did
keep pace
from
with San
midseason
Francisco
on
next
this year, they'll be a lot.
They'll keep pace with San Francisco next year.
I ain't right back.
You guys are going to be surprised with this one.
right
Coach
back,
of the
though.
Year finalists. Brian Dabble. You're going to have a hard time with this because you have
I think
hard-ons
that's awesome.
for everybody. Sean McDermott.
No. You can cross him off. You know what? He shouldn't even be on that list. You want to know why? They fucking overachieved again.
Kyle Shanahan.
No.
Sirianni.
No. He has the most to work with.
Sirianni.
You know what? I think he has a lot to work with too. Although he's done a great job with that team. That team was a playoff team the year before. So I like what he's done, but personally, I'm all for Brian Double winning that. For that team to make the playoffs was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And the last one, Doug Peterson. I'm going to be honest with you here. Dabble to me is a good candidate. Sirianni to me is a good candidate. And Peterson to me is a good candidate. Because
I still think Dabble should win it.
Okay.
Who had more to work with?
I don't disagree. Dabble.
No, who had more to work with to get this team turned around? I don't think you can count Jacksonville because we already knew they were going to be good.
Yeah, but
we already knew they were going to be
We're
good.
talking about a team that won 3 games last year.
Right.
That was a touchdown away.
Okay.
From
what?
An AFC championship.
Oh, okay. Well, you could say the same thing. They got bounced just like New York did. Just like the Giants did.
I think the Giants
I think overall that the Jacksonville team was a lot better than the fucking Giant team.
I disagree.
That's my opinion.
I disagree.
I don't believe that for 1 minute.
Are we talking about
Peterson versus Dabble?
Coaching wise,
Peterson hands.
I see. I don't
what?
believe that. I don't believe that Peterson had to do as much work as Brian Dabble did to have to turn around that.
Do I need to remind you?
That Jets team was horrible.
Do I need to remind you who the coach was in Jacksonville last year?
Well, we already know.
Do I need to remind you about the fingers and butts and telling the kickers to go fuck themselves and kicking them in the shins?
You know what? Look at New York, dude.
Wait, I
look
thought you said Dabo.
I
said Peterson.
Look what Brian Dabble has no
the
wide
Jets.
receivers.
He's stupid.
That's Salah.
No, Brian Dabble had no wide receivers, dude. None. He had Kenny Galladay. He had fucking, what's the other guy's
All
name?
right, but hold on.
But the
here.
fact that
This
they
is-
had
Wait,
nobody on the
you're
team
forgetting
except
this.
for
Come on,
Daniel
dude.
You are
Jones and
forgetting
Saquon
this.
Barkley.
Okay, outside of us, who looked at the Jaguars team of Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones?
No, but we
and was
already
like,
knew
oh,
they were
wow,
going to
that's
be
a
100
great
times
roster.
New
better.
York was also a team that wasn't even supposed to fucking be in the playoffs, but Jacksonville was.
Listen, to me, Jacksonville on paper, you put their fucking team on paper, they're in the top 10. With all the draft picks that they've accumulated over the last fucking 5 years, 6 years, give me a break, dude.
I'm
That did
giving
not
that one to
surprise me
Peterson.
they turned around that fast.
I'm giving that one to Peterson.
Okay. I think
I'm
Brian Dabble
also
deserves it.
also shocked to see Kyle Shanahan and Sean McDermott on this list and not Dan Campbell. I will say.
Yeah, that
Well,
he was early.
I'm gonna
Make
say
the
this.
cut.
I think if Dan Campbell would have made the fucking play, if Detroit would have made the playoffs,
Oh, he'd be on here. No,
he would have been
Why
on.
is Salah on there?
Salah's not on here.
He's not
I don't
on
know why
there.
you keep saying that. He's not on here.
He's not on there,
He
dude.
misspoke. He was talking about Dabble and said the
okay.
Jets.
Brian Dabble.
Okay.
Yeah, but you kept saying the Jets.
Yeah.
You meant
The
the
Giants.
and
All right,
kept
whatever.
saying
The
Jets.
Giants.
So
I
he
said
was
New York.
confused. No, you said the Jets
Did I?
multiple
All right,
times.
I'm going
and
to say
you
this one
fucking-
more time. If you go down the fucking roster for the Giants and the fucking Jacksonville Jaguars, the Jacksonville Jaguars are a much better team than the Giants.
All right.
What?
Assistant coach of the year.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are a
Fucking A.
much
Stop asking him. He
better
said it 10
team than the
times.
fucking Giants.
Assistant
Tell me
coach
I'm
of the
wrong.
year. You're wrong. Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator. DeMarco Ryans, 49ers.
D'Amico Ryans.
Sip on your Alana.
And Shane Steichen, Eagles offensive coordinator.
I'm going to
Johnson.
say Shane Dykens.
Steichen.
Whatever his name is.
I think it's got to go to Ben Johnson.
Going to bed, Johnson.
I think it has to. I mean,
Why?
because there was a point this year where the Lions' offense statistically absolutely was shattering everything.
That is true.
They were shattering every fucking record.
That is true.
They regressed a little, but
you know,
had them clicking
that
so
one kid,
well.
that one cat's offense. They're fucking a machine, dude.
yeah,
So
but
I don't know how you could say that.
is the machine that good? Because
It's not
of the guy
Sirianni. Sirianni is a defensive coach, not an
Is
offensive
it
coach.
the machine that good because of the guy programming it, or the pieces of the machine?
I don't know. Do you think you could plug anybody in Philadelphia be good? We've already seen that. No.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So how good is his system without Jalen Hurts?
All right, we'll give it to Ben Johnson.
Because Ben Johnson
Ben Johnson,
did
the
it
tight
with
ends
fucking
coach last
Quentin
year for the
Syphilis.
Lions.
All right, we need to get into this weekend's matchups.
All right, let's see.
First off, in the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial Field, on Sunday, January 29th at 3 p.m., the San Francisco 49ers head to the city of brotherly love to face off against the Eagles, who are a 2.5-point favorite in this game, and the over-under is 46.5 points. And before we break this down, let's pick. Let's get right to it. Let's pick who we are sending to the Super Bowl from the NFC. And first, I am going to ask Bruce to make his pick.
God, why me first, dude? Shit.
This is why.
Why? Because these are two great teams going up against each other, and I don't know who to choose. Is Brock Purdy going to shit the bed against the Eagles D? Because I think that's ultimately what's going to happen, and I'm going to take the Eagles to win.
So you're taking Philadelphia to head to the Super Bowl. Okay. There's a couple factors in this game for me because I got news for you. In my opinion, both of these offensive and defensive lines facing off against each other is going to bring us some of the best football we've seen. Realistically, the way I have to think about this game is between these two teams, which one will be able to establish the run better. For me personally, that is San Francisco. And that is going to be no easy task against the Philadelphia defensive front. None whatsoever. But I put more trust in Christian McCaffrey and Elijah than I do in Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell. That's just me personally. I know he's going to disagree. I also know that the absolute weakness of San Francisco's team is Brock Purdy. And if that Philadelphia defense gets to him, he will collapse. He will fall apart. At some point, they will. But
That's another. This is the game that Kyle Shanahan kind of shits the bed on the run game a little bit.
this very
He almost
well
did
could
it
be
last
the game
week.
that Kyle Shanahan shits the bed. At the same time, I think San Francisco's defense is probably the only one in the league that's good enough and equipped well enough to be able to cover everybody they need to cover, as well as put a spy on Jalen Hurts every play and take him out of the game with his feet. I've never been so conflicted over a game in my life, truly. There has not been one this year that has stood out to me more because I debate back and forth between will Philadelphia be able to run the ball like San Francisco, which I know the answer is no, but will Philadelphia be able to completely disrupt Brock Purdy? And I really think that answer is yes to me. San Francisco, though, their offensive line is quietly probably a top 3 offensive line in football. Period. I mean, it's hard to argue that. I don't know. I've got to. Again, I'm a very logical person when it comes to picking these games, and for me, the one flaw in this game is Brock Purdy, and it's hard for me to get past that. Ultimately, my heart's telling me to go with San Francisco, though. And I don't know why. I think that the amount of weapons that the 49ers has in McCaffrey, in Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and that's not even talking about defensively and how many playmakers they have that could blow this game open. I'm going to go San Francisco here. And I know you're just a Philadelphia hater. It's not me being a Philadelphia hater. This is truly not. Because I hate San Francisco just as much as I hate Philadelphia. There's no bias there. For some reason.
Two great teams, man.
At the same time, then I go back to Philadelphia's secondary can pretty much stop anybody. So is Deebo Samuel even going to be a factor in this game? I don't know. I think that the reason why San Francisco traded for Christian McCaffrey when they did was so that they could put the team on his back and win games like this. So I, against my better judgment, am going to take the 49ers and the under.
I'm going to take the Eagles and the under.
Why? You got to give me something here.
I got to give you something.
Me.
It's real simple.
Sway me.
Watching the Eagles play Dallas and watching the 49ers play Dallas, I think the Eagles are going to be able to absolutely stifle Brock Purdy. I really do. I don't think Brock Purdy can get cute and do things he's been doing. Brock Purdy's been living on borrowed time.
I agree.
And I've been saying this for weeks. He had 2 interceptions that were dropped last week. I think it's going to happen to him this week.
Brock Purdy behind at the helm has been popped in the mouth yet.
Well, you know what?
He hasn't.
He's been pressured. He was pressured last week.
But popped in the mouth. And that's what I'm afraid of is this Eagles team,
almost
pop
folded.
him early, they might just be able to keep that going the entire game.
The thing is
whose offensive line and defensive line are going to hold up better? That's the key.
It comes down to the trenches, baby.
Can you imagine?
Fucking trenches.
I mean, yes, I think Philadelphia probably has the best offensive line in football, but
They do.
San Francisco has the best defensive front.
Correct.
So who wins
this battle?
Who wins that battle?
That's the key battle.
Is
Philly's offensive line, can they oppose their will on Nick Bosa? That's the thing. And I'm going to be honest with you.
That's no easy task. Either way.
The way you beat the 49ers is
Take away the run.
Is run at them and take away their run. That's how you beat them. And you got a guy like Jalen Hurts that could do both. That's they're a machine. They've done it all year. They did it all year.
What throws me off about this game, and I remember watching the Monday night game between Philadelphia and Washington months ago, and Washington ran the ball at Philadelphia 40 fucking times.
And I think they're a lot better now than they were then.
I agree, and completely took away the line of scrimmage for Philadelphia.
They were missing a couple pieces in that game.
That was their first loss.
Yeah,
and that was the Washington Commanders. And I know
that was a divisional game too.
It was a divisional game. I know that defensively,
on the road,
I know that San Francisco's offensive line and defensive line are both better than Washington's. I know the Eagles are better now. I just there's something that's telling me.
Well, I'm taking the Eagles, baby. That's where I'm at. Fly Eagles, fly.
Right.
I'm gonna stick with. This
is a good one though. I'm not gonna be upset either way.
No, I think these two games coming up this weekend should be the best games of the year. Period.
Well,
best games
at
of the
least
year.
this year.
Yes, best games this year.
Right.
Absolutely.
Super Bowl ain't gonna be this fun. No.
I don't know about that. Let's see who gets there first.
It's always fun. It's always fun, but
next up on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. from Burrowhead Stadium, it is the Cincinnati Bengals heading to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. Both of these teams, first place respectively in their divisions. Both of these teams hotter than lava going into this. Kansas City a 1-point favorite, over under of 48 points. And I'll be honest with you, for me going into this game, this was an easy one to pick, but I want to hear from Bruce first.
We're putting you on the spot.
Put me on the spot, huh?
Yep.
Bengals are hot, aren't they, huh? Pretty hot. Joe Burrow's pretty hot. But I'm going to take the Chiefs at home. I think they ultimately pull this game out. That you guys say that Bengals have the formula to beat them, but everyone's saying that now. I think the Chiefs are going to put that to a quick stop. There you go.
Well, Joe Burrow's the hottest quarterback in the league right now. period, bar none. And he's played great, especially the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's been incredible. But the Kansas City Chiefs averaged 29.2 points a game. That's number one. Patty Mahomes has a bad ankle, and I think it's the best thing that could happen to him because I think he'll pull his game in, rein it in, and not be reckless and not be stupid with the football. And I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs and the under in this game.
You can again, I'm the biggest stat guy there is. You can go to the stats all you want in this game.
Yeah.
I think there's one factor here. I think that Cincinnati wants it more, and Cincinnati's hungrier, and Cincinnati's hotter, and Cincinnati's, in my opinion, been playing better. And all of the numbers for Kansas City are great. And if you look at it across the board, this game, I don't know how much of a game it really should be, but Cincinnati, ever since they've gotten on this hot streak, has essentially proved everybody wrong. And they haven't just beaten these teams. They've beaten really good teams really well. I mean, they completely shut down Buffalo last week. Completely shut them down. And I mean, here's another thing that's a pretty big elephant in the room. These teams faced off once already this year, and Cincinnati came out on top. Granted, it was by a field goal.
They've won the last 3
yeah.
meetings between them.
And those were
including
at
the playoffs
Arrowhead.
last year.
2 of those were at Arrowhead.
Correct.
Right? So Joe Burrow.
This year was in Cincinnati.
The one this year was in Cincinnati. The
Correct.
previous 2 were at Arrowhead. Joe Burrow has ice in his veins. I think he is one of the only guys who could go into any stadium and not be completely thrown off his game by that Kansas City crowd, by the Arrowhead atmosphere, all that. I think he has what it takes to hold up against that. Again, I think Cincinnati's defense, probably one of the most underrated ones in football. A lot of those guys, and I said the same thing last year going into the Super Bowl, those guys like Hubbard and Hendrickson, and they all get slept on. I don't think Kansas City has an X-factor dominating receiver outside of Travis Kelce. If they can contain Travis Kelce, all right? If they can attempt to contain Travis Kelce, which they have done well in the past, I think that Cincinnati's defense matches up good against Kansas City's offense still like they have in the past. The Mahomes ankle thing doesn't bother me. I think that's a smoke screen. I think that's all bullshit. I think you're getting both these teams at their absolute best, and I think it's going to be a field goal game. It's going to come right down to it, but I think ultimately Cincinnati still has the elixir to beat Kansas City. I know you've said all year that the road to the Super Bowl goes through Arrowhead.
That's
and
true.
It does.
I was right.
And I think Cincinnati's going to be the one to come off that, going to be the one driving away at the end of the day. I really do.
I think that the main part that you need to look at is this: the Kansas City offensive line. If they could do what they did last week, this should not be a hard game for them at all.
You know, I mean,
because listen, here you got Cincinnati going to roll on the road with 3 non-starters on that offensive line.
I know.
That's going to be an issue. Chris Jones could be an absolute monster in this
agree.
game. This is what you got to watch out for. On the other side of that, if Kansas City's offensive line cannot stop DJ Reader in the middle, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble, especially if Mahomes can't move.
And I mean, I'll be honest with
But
you.
I like Mahomes. I like the offensive line for Kansas City better than the offensive line for Cincinnati. That's where I think you win in the trenches. And I think all these teams proved that the last weekend. All those teams that win, their offensive line controlled the game.
In the trenches, I mean, here's another one for me that makes me feel better about my pick. I think Joe Mixon can pretty much run the ball on anybody.
I think Pacheco can do the same. Pacheco's a little underrated. Do you know they both had about the same amount of yards?
Yeah, Joe Mixon missed 5 games.
Okay. Pacheco wasn't even a fucking starter in some of these games. They were relying
After
on the other
week
cat.
1, Edwards-Helaire, please.
No, not Edwards-Helaire.
McKinnon's a passing guy. Come on now.
They played him more than they were playing Pacheco in a lot of these other games, man. They split carries. He ain't the main
wearing
guy
pulses
like
and they were.
he ain't the main guy like Mixon.
Listen to me.
He's not a starting guy role, dude.
He's right.
At the end of the day,
Okay.
trenches versus trench. I mean, you
All
can't
right,
argue
all right,
trench-wise.
all right,
Cincinnati's in the
here's my
trenches.
argument for Pacheco. Joe Mixon had 241 carries for 958 yards and 8 touchdowns. Pacheco had 182 carries for 925 and 5 touchdowns.
And there's your
He had 60 less carries.
Correct.
That's my argument about that.
Listen to me.
Okay.
You're going to look me dead in the eyes right now and tell me you're on third and 2. Who are you handing the ball to? Don't
Isaiah
lie.
Pacheco.
Yeah, okay. Funny joke. Biggest Joe Mixon fan
No,
there is.
listen, I am a Mixon guy, but I'm telling you, Pacheco's a little underrated, I believe. I don't think they utilize him as much as other teams would utilize a guy with his caliber. I think they should do it more. And I think you're going to see them utilize him more in this next game.
And the other thing I'm going to say, I
truly believe Cincinnati has a better defense than.
I think they have a better. That was my next point.
Yeah.
Who in the Chiefs secondary covers all these receivers?
Oh, they got, you know what, they do it by a committee deal.
I get it, but
And you know what, the Chiefs have more fucking sacks than
I know that.
them.
I'm aware. But here we go.
You know what?
I'm
And
talking
all the talk we're
secondary-wise.
talking about how good Cincinnati's defense are. We know they're good. They had 30 sacks this year.
I get
You know
it.
where they're ranked?
29.
29.
And
And how many did you got? Kansas City had 55 sacks and were second in the league in sacks.
do you know how many times this year they had all of their starting defensive ends on the field
They
at the
didn't.
same time?
They didn't have them all on
They
the
do this week.
All right, we'll see what happens.
You want to know one? I think Cincinnati's going to really do everything they can to control the clock in this game too.
Okay.
And I don't. The way Burrow has changed his game a little from last year to this year, in the fact that he's still a gunslinger, but he manages the game better now than
I
he
think
did before.
he's better. Listen, he's another year in, and I think it's done nothing but help. I think he's the best quarterback in the league right now.
I do too.
From what I've seen.
I do too. And you don't want to know the other thing that we've seen in these games is as cute as Pat Mahomes is, what lost Kansas City the Cincinnati game last year?
They lost right at the end.
He got too cute.
He got too cute at the end.
fucking cute right
Well,
at the
here's
end.
the thing. I think the bad ankle is going to pull him in a little bit and not be as cute. I think it's going to pull his game in, and he's going to be a little more focused.
I don't know.
Because he gets reckless. When he's running all over the place and trying to be cute, he gets reckless.
So
I don't think you'll see that.
So this is what I've taken from this. You two both believe it's going to be a Kansas City, Philadelphia Super Bowl.
Yes, I do.
And I believe it's going to be a Cincinnati, San Francisco Super Bowl.
Look at that.
The third time meeting in the Super Bowl?
at
I don't think so.
That.
Huh?
The third time the two teams meeting in the Super Bowl.
The 49ers and the Bengals?
Correct.
What are we talking about from 40 years ago here?
It was 1982
Okay.
at the Pontiac
Exactly
Silverdome.
40 years ago.
There it is.
And in a fucking snowstorm at the Pontiac Silverdome. And it was the first of many Super Bowl wins for Joe Montana.
Listen.
I still remember him. He hit the little screen pass to the fullback, Earl Cooper,
Can I
for
ask
the
you a question?
touchdown.
Who wants this game more?
What?
Burrow or Mahomes? Who wants this game?
I don't think either guy wants it as much as the other guy does.
I think
I truly believe that.
I
I truly believe they both want it.
Both are in
Mahomes,
this
listen to
position.
me. Mahomes
Both
doesn't
played
want to
each
be a
other.
one-trick pony. He wants this. Don't think he doesn't want it
I get it.
because he's a weirdo.
Yes.
I don't like his hair, and he's a weirdo. And I
runs
just
like a
don't think he
Minotaur.
wants to be a one-trick pony. Just like I don't think Josh Allen will make it to a fucking Super Bowl. You want to know why? Now I'm going to tell you why right now. He can't beat Mahomes. He can't fucking beat Burrow. And now you got a fucking another guy thrown into the mix.
Tua.
Another guy, I'm not even talking about Tua. I'm talking about that young kid with long hair in Jacksonville. I got a feeling that he'll be better than fucking Josh Allen at one point.
You got that dog in him.
If you don't think I'm right,
Oh, I do.
you
I do.
watch and see next year.
I do.
Watch and see next year.
Here's the thing.
I don't think Buffalo will be relevant next year.
Well, you took my point. When a new power steps up,
Correct.
one has to fall out, right? And I don't see Cincinnati falling out, and I don't see Kansas City falling out. But Buffalo has showed their hand. They've showed their weakness.
Buffalo is in purgatory hell right now.
Yes, they are.
Because guess what?
They're financially.
They don't have any money financially. Okay. They gave up a lot of draft picks just to sign veteran players, a la fucking the Rams. And you see where they're at.
Yep.
They're going to lose half their fucking team this year coming.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a situation there where if Josh Allen gets hurt, you're done. Season's
Correct. It's over.
Right.
It's over. And I don't know who's the backup there. Mitch Trubisky in Buffalo. Is that who it is?
No.
Because if that's who it is, you might as well
pretty good, isn't he?
start shoveling into the fucking water over there.
Isn't it Foles? Were we wrong? Could it be Foles?
I thought it was Trubisky.
No. Case Keenum.
Case
Sorry.
Keenum. Oh.
Yeah.
Case Keenum can win a bunch of regular season games.
You know who's third?
No.
Matt Barkley.
I like Matt Barkley. I always thought he was pretty good at USC. But anyway,
All right. So
that's our picks.
I think it's going to be. I don't think you could.
I'm going Philadelphia, Kansas City. Bruce is going
Philadelphia,
Same
Kansas
thing.
City.
Kansas City. You're going with the 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals. I hear you.
I think this is going to be the best. I mean, you have picked two better games. I truly
think this is.
And this is the first time in a long time I think you could say this. I think you truly have the four best teams in football playing this week.
Oh, I agree with that.
Because usually there's a
Wholeheartedly,
fluke
I
in
agree
there.
with what you're saying.
Usually there's a fluke in there. Usually you get a fluke in there.
Yeah,
right?
that didn't happen this week. The Flukes got knocked out last week.
Yep. And I thought we'd get a fluke. I did.
Sometimes you have a fluke in there just to keep things.
I thought Dallas would be the fluke.
Just to keep it
I really did.
interesting.
I'm glad they're not.
I was never worried about Dallas for one fucking minute. Not one motherfucking inkling of a second. Do you know why? When you have a coach like Mike McCarthy and a quarterback like Dak Prescott, I am not worried about fucking that at all.
You know what? You're so quick to sit here and jump on the Bills ain't shit train. You picked them last week.
Who?
You.
I picked the Bills in for one reason only. Don't even go there.
Go ahead.
DeMar. It was all about DeMar. And guess what? The NFL did everything they can to get DeMar's presence on there. Then I heard.
Oh, stop. We're not going
Wait a
there.
minute.
We're not going
Then I
there.
heard about the DeMar stand-in. That he wasn't.
Oh, the conspiracy.
This conspiracy
Why is he
theory
wearing a mask?
where it wasn't him.
Why is
It
he
was
wearing a
somebody
mask?
fucking else dressed like him. And I was just like, are people that stupid? And yes, they are.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, they are.
The
Enjoy.
NFL loves DeMar. They love they love
Can we
the
stop
train
with
wreck.
DeMar?
And that's what they want.
Can we stop with DeMar?
Absolutely,
We're-
dude.
we're very
I
happy
was
with
done
DeMar.
with DeMar
We
the
are
day
very
after.
happy.
Well, you're the one still
I was
talking
done with
about it.
DeMar the day
You're
after
the
it
one
happened.
still talking about it.
And I don't even listen to me. The only reason why
That's
I'm
true.
talking about it
That is so
this-
He's
true.
the only one that's
This
still
is
talking
the
about it.
only
this is what
one
the
still
NFL
talking
wanted.
about it.
It's what the NFL
Well, why are you
wanted.
giving them what they want then? Isn't that
God
the perfect
damn it.
side to
You're
shut
feeding
up?
them, putting food in the mouth.
Anyways,
That's it.
enjoy championship.
How much did he
weekend.
raise on his little thingy?
Over $8 million.
Jesus Christ.
Enjoy championship weekend. Again, I think it's going to be the two best football games of the year.
When I have a heart attack, are you guys going to have one of those for me?
Yeah, I don't know how well. I don't
When
know
I
if it'll
need
be
my
out
heart
tomorrow,
surgery,
but
heart replacement surgery?
thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast.
Do not follow me. Go ahead.
You can follow him on Instagram at Sal Sig.
Oh,
if
God
you
damn
are
it.
listening on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure to check out our YouTube channel and remember to ring the bell and subscribe. You'll like watching us more than listening. You got to look at him. You'll just laugh. Thank you guys so much. Again, enjoy championship
What am
weekend.
I, a joke?
We will be back.
Am I
on-
funny? What am I funny? Am I
Clown?
a joke?
Am I a fucking
Am I a
clown?
clown?
We'll be
Do I
back
amuse
Monday
you?
to figure out which one of us was right and wrong. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend.